That was Jason Raz, Living in the Moment. And that leads into our next conversation. This is an audio interview with the Reverend Paul Golightly, who was for many years the director of St Anthony's Priory in Durham. Right now, he is leading regular sessions on Zoom to help provide support for people needing to boost their well-being. These hour-long sessions, it says here, use the body-based practices of Capacitar. They provide a long contemplative flow using some simple Tai Chi and body, prayer, meditation and visualizations and healing practices from different cultures, working with the body's self-healing energy. I do hope you're intrigued, or you won't enjoy the next few minutes very much, because although I didn't actually go to one of Paul's sessions, I did ring him to find out what I might have experienced if I had done.
I think some people are coping with the empty space well and are enjoying that, but others are not. You know, life is monotonous, and when is it going to get back to normal and take shape? So people are kind of just hanging on and waiting, and it's living with the uncertainty of life. So all kinds of new questions and issues are there.
Right. And your sessions presumably help to give people a few resources to cope.
Yes, it's very much giving people a toolkit. So we'll do some Tai Chi type movement to begin with, which, you know, has been proved in research to help people be in touch with their bodies, to be calmer, to release emotions.
Yeah. Now, when I do Tai Chi, it always feels as if I'm doing it in slow motion. Is that part of the discipline of it?
It's certainly slow and rhythmical and repetitious. Breathing deeply as you do it. That's the important bit of it. And then, of course, after that, we'll often just sit and be in touch with our breathing. We'll do some kind of visualization.
Now, is a visualization where you might take me on an imaginary journey into some nice place? Is that how that works?
It can be that sort of thing. And then in that place, for instance, last week we got people in touch with, in Christian terms, the community of the Communion of Saints. So an exercise of gratitude for ancestors, for those who had given so much to you in forming your life, and then looking forward to descendants who are the younger people perhaps that you're taking delight in, and contemporaries that you're taking delight in. So gratitude would always be a big part of that.
Now, is that just an imaginative exercise, or are you saying these are real presences that people have a sense of?
Well, certainly real presences, yes, their own ancestors, their own mothers, fathers, grandparents, whatever, and then their siblings, their children, grandchildren, whatever, who would be those descendants that people are taking delight in.
It feels to me if we might be getting into a bit of invisible friend territory here, though.
Well, it's just about connection, really. I mean, in a sense, living, our understanding of connection in a quantum universe is that we are connected now, we're connected eternally, and I think that's still thoroughly orthodox and Christian as well, which would be very important to some of the people attending the group.
Yeah. I'd like to pick you up on eternity, because it does seem to me that we now live in a world where it's assumed that we come from dust, we go to dust, and when we die, that's it. There is no eternal dimension. Everything else is fantasy. And as one gets a bit older, that becomes, or it can become, quite scary. Do you have a particular way of approaching that sort of basic existential anxiety about when I die, that's me done for?
Yeah, I think I can only do it in terms of, in this life, the greatest manifestation of God is that I am loved unconditionally, and we are all loved unconditionally, and that is what will be for eternity. That's true for eternity. The essential Paul Golightly is loved unconditionally for eternity. That's enough for me to say. I don't speculate beyond that.
Looking at just the little bit of blurb that I found online, it's quite a sort of pick and mix, isn't it, really? So perhaps some of what you're offering will work for some and other bits won't. Is that the way it goes?
Absolutely. I mean, another thing we'll do, we'll teach some simple self-acupressure work, and, that can really work for people. For others, it's the movement. For other, it's the meditation, visualization stuff that works. So there's lots of pegs for people to hang on to from a number of cultures and traditions. And, you know, I would want to say for me, that's deeply ecumenical. People are coming from all the Christian traditions and beyond. So, yeah, but I guess some, you might say, interfaith writers now are calling ecumenism, a deeper ecumenism from an interfaith perspective as well.
Yeah. Have you ever had any sort of negative comments from people say, look, you're a Christian minister, you are just supposed to be offering Christian resources, all this Tai Chi and Buddhist stuff, that's kind of heretical?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
And how do you respond to that sort of rather blinkered approach?
Yeah, well, I just say, you know, come and experience it, and see, you know, how it leaves you feeling. But for some, they can't do that. It's kind of wrong, and so you shouldn't be doing it. And I'm certainly not going to open a door to something that I don't believe in.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to leave people. I don't try and persuade people at all. If they're in that place, it's kind of pointless, really. I've found over many decades. Yeah.
Now, just one last thing, because you've had to do all this virtually, of course. Isn't there an aspect of what you do that actually requires you to be physically in the presence of the person you're trying to support, and you're losing that at the moment?
We are losing something. Clearly, there is something about a community of people being together. There's an energy and a connection there of being together. But I'm amazed how good things have been online and what people. We just have a little report back at the end of it. You know, what's been most significant for you, and it's touching people very deeply. So I am amazed at how powerful the stuff still is.
And if you're interested in joining Paul for one of his sessions, go to the Darlington Methodist District website and look under the News tab.